Vande Paramanandamadhavam. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshadharine. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. You can repeat it. Everybody is on mute, then it's okay. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama
Rama
Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare 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 Rama Hare
Hare
Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna to everybody. Thank you all for being here. So you must have seen the sixth chapter of Canto 1 before. So we know that Vyasa was a little down, and he was looking for his guru, Narada. Narada Mahamuni came, and then he gave him some insight as to why he was feeling the way that he was feeling and what he should do. So he should concentrate on writing about the glories of the Lord, and which is not what happened in the past. He has written many great writings like the Vedas and Vedas, Vedanta Sutras and everything, but there was not a complete concentration on the glories of the Lord. That is why he was feeling the void that he was feeling in his heart. And this is what Narada has explained to him, and he has blessed his devotee. And even though Vyasa Mahadev is no other but the Lord himself, he was in this, when he appeared as Vyasadeva, his guru was Narada. So let us see this chapter. So the first one is Shaunaka. You know that all these great sages in the Naimisharanya, they were all asking Suta. They were all asking Suta Mahamuni to explain to them the Bhagavatam. Among those sages, Shaunaka was one of the prominent ones. So Shaunaka had a question after listening to all this. He was asking, Saunaka uvacha nirgate narada suta bhagavan badarayanaha srutavam stadabhipretam tatah kim akarod vibhuhu. So he's saying, oh, sage Suta, so he's asking Suta Mahamuni. So this powerful Vyasadeva, he heard everything from Narada Muni. So after he departed, after Narada Muni left, what did he do? He's asking. So, so he is referring, Badarayana is Vyasa Mahamuni. So he's referring to Veda Vyasa as Badarayana. So Nirgate Narada Sutta. So Sutta, he's addressing Sutta Mahamuni, and he's saying, after Narada Muni has departed, so this Bhagavan Badarayana, who is the Vyasadeva, how did he, what did he do? Is the question. So here in purport also they are describing that Bhagavatam is picked up as a Parikshit Maharaj was miraculously saved by Lord Krishna when he was in the womb of his mother Uttara. So this was a why did this happen? Why did Parikshit? Why was Parikshit in a trouble? I mean, why was he in danger? That's because Drauni means Ashwadhama. Ashwadhama's who is Ashwadhama? Dronacharya's
Son. Dronacharya's son.
Yes. So he has the name Drauni also because he's Drona's son. So Ashwadhama, he killed the 5 sons of Draupadi while he was sleeping, right? Which was not a act of dharma. So for which he was punished by Arjuna. So before commencing this Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva realized the whole truth by trance in his devotion, they're saying. So before he even started writing Bhagavatam, he was visualizing everything that had happened. And because he was in a trance of what? Trance of devotion. He was in a trance of devotion, and in that devotion, he was visualizing this whole truth. So that is what the purport is saying. The shloka itself is saying that Shaunaka Muni was asking Suta Mahamuni, how did this powerful, great Badarayana, the Vyasadeva, what did he do after his teacher Narada Muni has departed? So then Suta Mahamuni was answering the question of Shaunaka. What did he say? Suta uvacha brahmanadyam saraswatyam ashrama paschime tate samya prashaiti prokta rishinam satravardhanaha. So he was saying that on the bank of the river, this river, Saraswati river. So this river is usually associated with all the Vedas, Brahmanas, saints, and the Lord. So that's why he's calling it Brahmanadyam, means on the bank of the river, which is related to the Vedas and Brahmanas and great saints and the Lord also. So he was on the bank of such a river, which is called the Saraswati river. Ashrama Paschime Tate. So in an ashrama which was on the west side, and then Samyaprasa. The name is called Samyaprasa. This ashrama is located, which is on the bank of the river Saraswati, which is a great place for all the Vedas, Brahmanas, saints, and the Lord also. This ashrama is located in a place called Samyaprasa. Iti prokta. So they call it as Samyaprasa, he's saying. Rishinam Satravardhanaha. Satra Vardhanaha. Ante, this place is a place where all the sages, it enlivens the transcendental activities of all the sages. So that means this place, Samyaprasa, is such a sacred place where all the sages, it has the divine activities of all the sages. That's why it is such a sacred place. So that is the meaning of the shloka. So he's saying on the western bank of the river Saraswati, which is intimately related with the Vedas. This Saraswati river is very much related to the Vedas. If they say Triveni Sangamam, right? Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati. Yamuna is where Lord Krishna has done all his pastimes. So that is how sacred the river Yamuna is. And then we know how sacred the river Ganges, Ganga is. Because if you take a bath in Ganga, they say all your papas will be eliminated. So Ganga, Yamuna, and then the third is Saraswati, which we don't even see. It is innately present in the waters of the Ganga and Yamuna, they say. Physically, we don't see it today. But back then, they had the river Saraswati which is intimately related with the Vedas. That is how sacred this river is. So where is this bank of Saraswati that Vedavyasa was sitting? He was sitting in a cottage which is on the bank of Saraswati, which is intimately related to the Vedas. So this place is in a place called Samya Prasa. So this Samya Prasa place is so sacred that because it has all the power of the divine activities of all the sages. So that is how sacred the Samya Prasa place is. And in that place, on the banks of the river Saraswati, is where Vedavyasa is sitting. He said, this is what Suta Mahamuni told Shaunaka Muni. He started his answer like this because he was asking after Narada left, what did Vedavyasa do? That was his question, right? So he's answering. So he sat in this sacred, very sacred place by the banks of the river Saraswati, which is related to the Vedas. So the place is sacred. The bank, Saraswati river is also very sacred. In such a place, Vyasadeva was sitting after Narada left. So let us see what they're saying briefly in the purport. So there is the ashrama of, that is where the ashrama of Vyasadeva is located in Samya Prasa. So he was a Grihastha, Vyasadeva, but in spite of that, his residence is called ashrama. So why? Because ashrama is a place where spiritual culture is always the foremost thing. And so it doesn't matter whether it belongs to a Grihastha or a sannyasi or whoever. But the whole Varnashrama dharma is designed that each and every status of life is called ashrama. So they can be brahmacharis, they can be grihasthas, vanaprasthas, sannyasi, all along. But they all belong to the same. The mission of the life is the same for everybody. What is that mission? Realizing the Supreme Lord. So no matter what stage we are in that ashrama, we may be in the first brahmachari stage, we may be in grihastha stage, we may be vanaprastha stage, or we may be in the sannyasi stage. But the mission of all these ashramas should be what? Should be realizing the Supreme Lord. So no ashrama is less important as far as spirituality is concerned, because in every ashrama, this is the goal. So the only difference is how formal we are on the in the process. Because as you progress into the next stage, next ashrama stage, you get more spirituality, right? From brahmacharis, grihastha. After grihastha, when you are in vanaprastha, you are little more into spirituality. When you become the sannyasi stage, then you're more into spirituality. That's the only difference. How much of spirituality does a person have in each stage? But the goal will be the same in all four stages, is what they're saying, or should be the same. So that is the point here. The sannyasis are held, sannyasis means they're in the highest stage of all these four stages. The sannyasi stage is the highest. So this is what they're saying. So even though Vedavyasa is a grihastha, he is in that sannyasi tattva. So he is in an ashrama. That is why his residence is also called ashrama, they're saying. So this is the second shloka. So he's telling he is in the banks of the Saraswati in that Samya Prasa place. Then next, he's continuing. What else Vedavyasa is doing? Tasmin sva ashrame vyaso badari sandamandite asinopa upasprashya pranidadhyau manasvayam. So he's saying in that place, in that ashrama, Srila Vyasadeva has his own ashram in that Samya Prasa place. So where this place is, it is a place where all these great sages, divine activities have been performed. That means many great sages have lived in that place, right? That is why it has the activities of all those sages, because they all lived in that place. That is the greatness of the sacredness of the place. So Srila Vyasadeva, in such a place, he has also his own ashram. This ashram was surrounded by berry trees. And he sat there by the berry tree and he started to meditate. Why? He's down to meditate. How? First, he touches the touches the water for purification. So, if we see, we always, even before the puja, we first touch the water to purify, like to wash our hands, to clean it, and then only we touch the puja dravyas. Like that, even for meditation, for purifying himself, he touched the water and then he did his meditation. So, that is what he did next. He went to, in his ashrama, he sat down by the berry trees after touching the water, and he sat down to meditate upon the Lord. So after hearing everything from Narada, he said, let me just sit and remeditate everything. So that is what he started to do. Bhakti yogena manasi samyak pranihi te male अपश्यात् पुरुषं पूर्णं मायं च तदपाश्रयम् मायं च तदपाश्रयाम्. So then he sat down for meditation. So now in this shloka he's saying that after sitting in meditation, he fixed his, what do we do when we sit in meditation? We fix dhyanam. So we fix our mind, we concentrate, we focus on a certain thing. So he fixed his mind perfectly, engaging it by linking it in devotional service without any tinge of materialism. So how did he focus? First of all, what did he focus on? He focused on bhakti. And how did he focus? Without any tinge of materialism. So all this maya, he tried to keep everything aside, and then he focused on that bhakti concept. And then when the minute that he was able to take the materialism out of his way and was able to concentrate with the clear mind only on the Lord, without any maya, without any influence of this material world, he was out of the influence of all this material tattva, and he was able to concentrate, focused on the bhakti. Then he saw the absolute personality of the Lord with his external energy, which was under full control. So he saw the Lord's form with his material, even with his external energy. Also, he could see the external energy, internal energy, the whole form of the Lord under his full control. So the external energy is there. That is the material energy that is the energy that God gives the material world to function. But that external energy, what? He is not under the influence of the material world. The Lord is not under the influence of the material world. He is above the influence of the material world. Even though it's his own energy, he is not influenced by what is the energy of the material world? Sattva, Rajas, Tamo gunas, right? They are in the external energy. So we are all under the influence of the Sattva, Raja, and Tamo gunas. But the Lord is not. He is above that material energy, which is his external energy. That is what they're telling here. So he saw the Lord along with his external energy, but it was that external energy is under the Lord's full control. So he is not under the control of the external energy. The energy is under the Lord's control. So this is very important because Bhagavan is Nirguna. So they are telling about that Nirguna tattva of the Lord. So even though he saw the Lord, even with his material energy, external energy, he could also tell that the Lord is under full control and is not under the influence of that external or material energy. So that is what this shloka is saying. So when Vyasadeva was able to take out set aside all the materialism from his concentration, from his mind, and he totally concentrated on that bhakti aspect, then that's when he could see the Lord. So that is why Shuddha Bhaktas quality is they are able to eliminate all the material qualities, the material aspects they can eliminate, and they are totally into bhakti. So that is why they are in connection with the Lord. So that is what we can understand from this shloka. So Vyasadeva went into that mode, put all the material things aside, and then he concentrated strictly on the bhakti and only bhakti. And that's when he saw the absolute personality of the Lord with the external energy, which is also under the Lord's control. So the absolute vision is, what is the absolute truth means it is the Lord. So the absolute vision is the personality of Godhead. So Bhagavad Gita also confirmed, right? 7.19. Vasudeva sarvamiti. Bahunam janmanamante. People realize me after many births, how Vasudeva sarvamiti. Samahatma sudurlabha. Those kind of great people are very rare. Those who realize that the Lord is everything. So he is the absolute. So that is what Bhagavad Gita says. Upanishad also confirms that Vasudeva is a form of Bhagavan's avatar, and he is covered by the golden glowing Hiranmaya Patrena, who in the Isha Upanishad we see that the Lord is covered by this golden curtain, like a golden veil of impersonal Brahman. Because of this veil, it is hard to see the real face of the Lord, they say. So those who are able to concentrate and put all the material effect on the side, they will be able to visualize see the God, is what they're saying. So the absolute personality of God is mentioned as Purusha in the shloka. He is mentioned as Purusham. Purusham means Bhagavan, the personality of God. So, and then here energy is mentioned as external energy. So they said energy, right? Maya means Shakti, energy. So that they have mentioned it as external energy. So the internal energy also is there. God has external energy and internal energy, both. So external energy is compared to darkness because it keeps the living entity in darkness of ignorance. So, which is Sattva, Rajas, Tamo Gunas. That is the external energy. So the word apashrayam means the energy of the Lord is under full control. So the external energy, even though it is his energy, he is not under that energy's control. That energy is under the Lord's control. That is what apashrayam word means. So here, those who are Atma Ramas, or those who are fixed in this kind of trance, those who take shelter of this Maya, that is the Bhagavan's internal energy, not the external energy. External energy is materialism, but the internal energy is the one that we have to focus on. For those people, there is no place for the those who concentrate on this, they are the bhaktas. So Bhakti Yoga is the function of the internal energy, they're saying. So there is no place for inferior or material energy, just as there is no place for darkness in the effulgence of spiritual light. So the point we have to remember is external energy is material, Maya, but internal energy is the Bhakti aspect. So those who focus on that, then they will be able to understand the Lord and realize the Lord. So Paramapurusha cannot be anyone except Sri Krishna himself, as will be explained in the later shlokas, they're saying. So who is this Paramapurusha that they have explained? He is concentrating on the Purusham, they're saying, no? So who is this Purusha? This is no other than Krishna. This will be explained in the next shlokas. So next one is Yaya sammohito jiva atmanam trigunatmakam paropi manutenartham tatkritam chabhipadyate. So because of this external energy, the shloka is saying the living entity, that means all the jivas, although they are divine, we are all divine because we have the divine spark of our Atma is the Amsha of the Lord. So we also have the divine aspect in us, transcendental aspect. Although this living entity is transcendental to the three modes. Our Atma is not under the influence of Sattva, Rajas, Tamo Guna. What is under the influence? Our mind and our intelligence. Buddhi and Manas is the one that is under the influence of the Sattva, Rajas, Tamo Guna. So Atma is always pure. Atma, because it is a part of the Lord. So even though we have an Atma that is above the three modes, above the Sattva, Rajas, Tamo Gunas, we think of ourselves as material products, and thus we are experiencing all these miseries. So they're telling this Vedanta here. Why, even though we are divine beings, why are we experiencing these sorrows? Why are we experiencing these ups and downs in life? Because we are under the material influence. Which we meaning our mind and our intelligence. And we are always thinking our thoughts are always full of this materialism. That is why we are undergoing this sorrow, joy, all these feelings. Sometimes we are happy, we jump up and down. Sometimes we are so sad that we feel like crying. So why are we experiencing all these ups and downs, these reactions and these material miseries? That because we are under the influence of the three modes, Sattva, Rajas, Tamo, Gunas. That is what the shloka is saying. So in purport, Prabhupada explains even more clearly that the root cause of suffering by jivas, by all these material living beings, is, he points out that it is the remedial measures which are to be undertaken, and also the ultimate. So he says, we all have to strive to get to that point, and how we can get into that perfection stage, how we can get out of this influence of the Sattva, Rajas, Tamo Guna. This is that is what this verse is saying. If you can get out of the Sattva, Rajas, Tamo Gunas, you will also be in this divine state of your Atma. You'll realize that is the state, such Satchitananda stage, which is the state of the Lord, which is also the state of the Atma, because it is part of the Lord. So if we want to realize that Satchitananda state of our own Atma, which is part of the Lord, we have to be above the three modes. But we think we are material products, and because of the contact with this materialism and Sattva, Rajas, Tamo Gunas, such a pure spiritual Atma we have, but we are still experiencing all the miseries. So here, we may question, why is God making us experience all these Sattva, Rajas, Tamo Gunas? We may question like that because we think we are very intelligent. But the answer is, Lord does not interfere with the task of this energy, because Lord gives us everything, mind, intellect. It is up to us how he gives us that freedom to use it, whether in the right way or in the wrong way. That is totally up to the living entity. So if we use it the right way, then we will be out of this misery and we will be in that Satchitananda bliss. But if we get attached to the Sattva, Rajas, Tamo Gunas and this material world, then we are always experiencing these miseries and sorrows and all these things. So when we surrender to the Lord, that is when we can accept, we can get out of this materialization, the total surrender to Lord. No matter what happens, if you're not reacting with overjoy, or if you're not reacting with too much sorrow, and you think everything is a prasad from the Lord, and you surrender to him totally like that, then what is going to affect you? What is going to scare you? What is going to cause you anxiety? Nothing. If you have that real total surrender, then you will always be in peace, because anything that comes to you, you think that is God's decision for you, that is God's prasad for you, and you are ready to accept it because of your devotion to the Lord, because you know that Lord is, no matter what he does, you are ready to accept. That is the total surrender. So when you are in that stage, when a person is in that stage of accepting anything that comes their way as the will of the Lord, then there is no anxiety. There is no sorrow. You're always in peace, right? So that is what they're saying here. So only when we are attached to this materialism, we are going to feel mine, the attachment. This is mine, that is mine, this I want, that I want. The want, the desire is what causes the misery. When you get it, you're overjoyed. If you don't get it, then you are sad, and you're also jealous of all the people that have it because you don't have it. So karma is the root cause for Krodha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, all the bad qualities, the root cause is desire. So, which means this is all being caused by our Sattva, Rajas, Tamoguna natures. So, here the Vyasadeva is saying that these jivas, he's saying by the process of punishment, by the external energy of the Lord, which is the material world, you know, that is how they will experience miseries if they are involved in the, attached to the material world. But if they are free from it and they go into the spiritual side, internal energy of the Lord, then we experience the peace. So within our heart, every living being, the Lord himself as Paramatma, he is present. And we all know that. We've seen that in Bhagavad Gita. But without the Lord, and from without he becomes the spiritual master in the shape of scriptures, saints, and the initiated spiritual master. This is, that means, so the Lord within us is able to direct us if we are willing to listen to him to the right path. So it is up to us whether we are looking inside and listening, or we are outside attracted towards this material world. So this will be explained more clearly, this internal, external energy influence in the next shlokas also. अनर्थोपशमं साक्षात् भक्तियोगम् अधोक्षजे लोकस्य जानतो विद्वांस चक्रे सात्वत संहितम्. So the material miseries of the living entity can be, that means all these material miseries that we are facing because we are attached to this material world, they are actually not a part of us. We are attached to it, so we are feeling it. But is our Atma really experiencing any of those miseries? No, because Atma is always blissful. We are unable to experience that bliss because this desire is putting us in this material world. So these miseries are superfluous to him. That means they are really not part of him. They can be directly mitigated, they're saying. That means they can be reduced. How can we reduce these miseries? By linking ourselves to bhakti. So when we concentrate on that bhakti, then we will slowly be relieved from all these material miseries, they're saying. But people do not understand this, and therefore Vyasadeva compiled this Bhagavatam to tell how important bhakti is for all these jivas. So this bhakti, he compiled this literature in relation to the absolute truth, which is the Lord. So Bhagavatam, that is what he has concentrated on. In order to relieve all these people from the miseries, he has concentrated on the supreme truth, which is what relieves everybody from these miseries. So this Bhagavatam explains how important this bhakti process is for any being, from any jiva. So he saw the Lord. That is how he saw the perfect personality of the Lord, because he set aside all the materialism and then he visualized the Lord completely, even with his external energy. Yasyam vai श्रूयमानायां कृष्णे परमपुरुषे bhaktir utpadyate pumsaha shokamoha bhayapaha. So simply by giving this, by being receptive to what the Vedas have said, the feeling of bhakti towards the Lord sprouts up in us at once. how, like the fire of how it sprouts up so fiercely that it extinguishes all the fire of lamentation, illusion, fearfulness, everything will be extinguished. So we are always full of worries, right? We are lamentation. We are always saying, I don't have that, I don't have this, and we are lamenting. Illusion, we are in the Maya, thinking that all this is real. Nothing comes with us when we leave the body, but we are still, we feel like we are here forever. This is all Maya. So the Maya, the lamenting, the fearfulness, we are always in fear, because when we feel that something that we want doesn't happen, what happens? We get fearful, we get anxiety, all these things. Why? Because of the desire for something. So desire causes all this fear, right? So, but when you have this loving devotional feeling for the Lord, then at once all these lamentations, illusions, fearfulness, everything is going to be extinguished. So what is necessary to put out all our anxieties and miseries is the bhakti. So once you have that bhakti sprouts in your heart. That sprout is going to extinguish all these miseries. That is how powerful the bhakti aspect is. That is how powerful the bhakti concept is. That is, it gives us the peace. It relieves us from all the anxieties and fears. And how do we get that bhakti? Is by, trusting the Lord, and is by becoming, surrendering to the Lord. So in purport, also Prabhupada has said that we have various senses, right? Out of the senses, the ear is most effective. So the ear works even when we are in deep sleep, right? So we can, the only thing that will protect us when we are asleep is the ear, because if something happens, some sound comes, we wake up, right? Not our eyes or anything. So hearing is very important. So they have mentioned here the importance of hearing. The hearing is important to how it is important for attaining the highest perfection in life. That means, what is the highest perfection in life? To be free from the sattva, rajas, tamo gunas. So here they're suggesting that simply by hearing, so hearing is so important. So just by Shravanam, you can develop that bhakti, is what they're saying. So Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavata Shravanam, that itself will cause, bhakti, will arise the bhakti in your heart. So Shravanam is very important, is what they're saying here. Prabhupada is saying. And the shloka is saying, by giving oral reception to this Vedic reception, literature. So by hearing the Bhagavatam, you can get bhakti, and such bhakti is going to extinguish all the fires of illusion, fearfulness, everything. So all you have to do is hear, Shravanam, listen to this Bhagavatam. That is how powerful the Bhagavata Shravanam is what they're saying. And then Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is referred to as a son of Yashoda. They're talking about the Supreme Personality of God here. So just by hearing about him, one can attain the perfection of life by listening to the story of the Lord, Shravana. Saisam sasamhitam bhagavatim krutvanukramya chatmajam sukam adhyapayam asha nivrutti niratam munihi. So this Vyasadeva, the great sage, so after he wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam, he revised it and then he taught it to his own son Sukadeva Goswami. So Sukadeva Goswami, if you all know, he is already a Mukta Purusha. He is already a self-realized soul. So that's what they're mentioning here. So after he wrote the Bhagavatam, he has taught and he has taught it to his son Sukadeva Goswami, who is a soul, realized soul already. So Bhagavatam was compiled about 5,000 years ago. Mahabharata was compiled before Bhagavatam, and the Puranas were compiled before the Mahabharata also. So this is an estimated date of compilation, about 5,000 years ago. So the synopsis, what they're saying is Bhagavatam was given before the detailed description under instruction of Narada. So there is some diversity of opinion as to the date of this Bhagavatam. So it is certain from the text in the Bhagavatam that it was compiled before the disappearance of Parikshit Maharaj and after the departure of Lord Krishna. That's when this happened. When Parikshit Maharaj was, so he was still alive, right? Because he heard the Bhagavatam. So when Parikshit was ruling the world as the king, he chastised the personality of Kali Yuga. So according to these scriptures, the age of Kali is 5,000 years. So therefore, Bhagavatam was compiled not less than 5,000 years ago, they're saying. So Mahabharata was before that, and Puranas was even before Mahabharata. So the estimated date is about 5,000 years, they're saying. So the synopsis of Bhagavatam was given before the detailed description under instruction of Narada. Bhagavatam is the science for following the path of Nivritti Marga, is what Prabhupada is saying. The path of Pravritti Marga was condemned. That means Pravritti means you are going into materialism. Nivritti means you are getting rid of all the materialism. So that is what the Bhagavatam tells us, how to go into Nivritti Marga, into this path. So the shloka is basically they're saying that after completing the Bhagavatam, he has taught it to his son, Sukadeva Goswami, who was also engaged in self-realization. So Shaunaka asked Sukadeva Goswami, when he said this, Shaunaka Muni had a doubt. So he's saying, Saunaka uvacha savai nivritti nirata sarvatropekshako munihi kashyava brihatim etam atma rama samabhyasat. So Shaunaka was asking, Sukadeva Goswami is already on the path of self-realization, and he was, he is just in that Satchidananda stage already. So why did he take the trouble to undergo the study of this Bhagavatam? He doesn't need it. He's already in that bhakti mode, that pure stage, that Satchidananda stage. So why does he have to study this literature? Is the question of Shaunaka Muni. So we all know that Sukadeva Mahamuni was born as a Mukta Purusha. So that is why this was a very good question asked by Shaunaka Muni. So let us see what Suta Mahamuni is answering. So Suta uvacha Atma Ramascha Munayo Nigrahanta api urukrame kurvanti ahaitukim bhaktim ittam bhuta guno harihi. So he's saying all Atmaramas, that means all of them who are self-realized also, especially those who are on the path of self-realization, even though they are free from all the material bondage, they desire to render bhakti, service to the Lord. So this means the Lord possesses the divine qualities, and therefore the Lord attracts anyone, everyone, even the liberated souls. So the answer is Sukadeva Mahamuni, even though he is a born Mukta Purusha, he is being Mukta means he is in that pure stage of bhakti. So when you are in that pure stage of bhakti, you are attracted towards no materialism. The only thing you are attracted towards is the Lord. So you are focused on the Lord. That is why he also was into Bhagavatam, because Bhagavatam is nothing but talks about the bhakti of the Lord. So he wanted to involve himself again in that bhakti and relish that bhakti. That is why he also, especially these liberated souls, because they are involved always in that bhakti stage, they all get attracted towards the Lord because of the Lord's qualities. So they are always attracted towards the Lord. So this Bhagavatam is the Lord's, it's about the bhakti towards the Lord, and it is about the Lord. So they will naturally be attracted towards this Bhagavatam. And that is why Sukadeva Goswami, even though he is a Mukta Purusha, which is why, because he is a Mukta Purusha, he is so attracted towards the Bhagavatam. That is why the Bhagavatam, even for us, if we do the Shravana of the Bhagavatam, we will also be able to attain that bhakti, they're saying. So, for people who are already bhaktas like Sukadeva Goswami, it's very easy for them to get involved in Bhagavatam because it's nothing but bhakti and it's about the Lord. Then he's continuing his explanation. Harer gunakshiptamater Bhagavan Badarayani Adhyagan Mahada Akhyanam Nityam Vishnu Jana Priyaha. So Sukadeva Goswami, who is Vyasadeva's son, Badarayana means son of Badarayani, not Badarayana is Vyasadeva. Badarayani is the son of Vyasadeva, who is Sukadeva Goswami. So they're saying this Sukadeva Goswami, the son of Vasudeva, was not only divinely powerful, that means he's Mukta Purusha, so he is divinely powerful. He was also very dear to the devotees of the Lord. So he underwent the great study of this Mahabhagavatam, because he is very powerful and he is also very dear to the devotees of the Lord. And thus he underwent a study of this great narration. So liberated souls are attached to this bhakti, we are saying, right? So that is the reason pure devotees like Vyasadeva and even the liberated soul, they become attracted to the to Lord's divine qualities. So because of Sri Narada's mercy and Srila Vyasadeva was able to narrate this great epic of Mahabhagavatam to Sukadeva Goswami, and he was able to grasp the Bhagavatam very well because he is also a great bhakta. So the Lord's divine qualities are so attractive that Sukadeva Goswami became detached from completely in this material world, and he was completely absorbed in this Bhagavatam, they're saying. So the shloka again is telling how he was powerful, and then he underwent the story of the how he studied the Bhagavatam and understood it from his father. Okay. Parikshitotarajars janma karma vilapanam samstham cha panduputranam vakshe Krishna kadhodayam. So Suta Goswami was saying that he's telling all these rishis, they're all headed by this great Shaunaka Mahamuni. He's the leader of all the sages there. So he's telling Shaunaka. So now I will begin the telling about the story of the Lord Krishna and the topics of his birth, activities, deliverance of Parikshit Maharaj, how he saved him, and all these topics I am going to and the renunciation of the worldly order by the Pandavas, how they have given everything and they have left for Mahaprasthanam. All these things I'm going to explain to you. Everything is mentioned in the Bhagavatam. So I'm going to explain all this to you now, is what he's saying. Then next shloka, 13 and 14. Yadamrite Kaurava Srinjayanam Vireshvato Viragatim Gateshu Vrikodara Vittha Gadambhi Marsha Bhagnorudande Dhritarashtraputre Bhattu Priyam Draunir itisma Pashyan Krishna Sutanam Swapatam Shiramshi Upaharad Vipriyam Eva Tasya Jugupsitam Karma Vigarhayanti. So now he's telling the story. So both warriors of both camps, Kauravas and Pandavas, they were killed on the battle of Kurukshetra. And then all these dead warriors, they went to whatever destination they were deserved. And when the Dhritarashtra fell down, at the end, he was very sad because all 100 sons died. So he fell down lamenting, and his spine was broken too. So, and then, sorry. And when the son of Dhritarashtra, I'm sorry, which is Duryodhana, he was the last one. He was the greatest of all the Kauravas. So when he fell down, his spine was broken because of the Bhimasena's club. The son of Dronacharya, who is Ashwadhama, he beheaded the 5 sleeping sons of Draupadi and delivered the heads as a prize to his master. So he thought if he kills the Draupadi sons and bring their heads to his master, he would be happy. But he thought he was very foolish in thinking in like that, because he thought his master Duryodhana will be pleased for what he has done. But Duryodhana disapproved of this heinous act. Even Duryodhana said what you did was not right, and he was not pleased at all by what Ashwadhama has done. Next, he's saying, Mata Shishunam Nidhanam Sutanam Nishamya Ghoram Parit. Mata Shushinam Nidhanam Sutanam Nishamya Ghoram Paritapyamana Tadarudadvaspakala Kulakshi Tam Shantavayan Ahikirita Mali. So Draupadi, who is the mother of these 5 children, Pandavas, she is who is the mother of the 5 children of the Pandavas. So these Pandavas have 5 children, and Draupadi is, of course, the mother. When she heard of this massacre, how this Ashwadhama went and killed the sleeping. They were sleeping. When they were sleeping, he goes and kills. That is the worst thing they can do. That's why even Duryodhana condemned him, that it is a heinous act. So, and they were also very young. So when she heard the massacre of her sons, she began to cry in distress with her eyes full of tears. And all the and then Arjuna was trying to pacify her, and then he spoke to her like this. So you will see what Arjuna told Draupadi in the next class. So these are the first 15 shlokas of this 7th chapter, the first canto. So let us quickly review what's in these first 15 shlokas of the 7th chapter. So here, Vyasadeva's inspiration for compiling Bhagavatam was explained in first 7 chapters. So he went and he meditated. He sat in that the banks of the river Saraswati, which is the part of all the Vedas and even the Lord and the great sages. And this was where his ashram was. So he sat there, he touched the water, then he meditated on the Lord, putting all the material feelings aside. And then he was able to visualize the Lord, who is also with his external energy, of whom, which is also in the control of the Lord. So he has visualized the Lord. So, and then Vyasadeva teaches Srimad Bhagavatam to Sukadeva Goswami. We saw that after writing how he has taught in between 8 and 11 shlokas, we saw that Sukadeva Goswami studying the Srimad Bhagavatam. And then we learned how Parikshit Maharaj, that will come later. But in here we saw that how the Pandavas' sons were killed, and how Draupadi was lamenting because the sons have been murdered by Ashwadhama. So first, the first one is Shaunaka was inquiring Suta Goswami. What did he do? After Narada left, where did Vyasa Muni go? Then Narada fixed his mind by linking it to bhakti and putting all the materialism on the side. No tinge of materialism. This is 4th shloka. Then the result of Vyasadeva meditation. What is that? That was explained also in shloka 4. He said when he put all the materialization aside and concentrated on the Lord with bhakti, he was able to see the absolute personality of Godhead along with his external energy. Then next shloka said, Sammohito jiva atmanam trigunatmakam. That means we all think we are all, we have become, we are under the illusion of this material world, under the influence of this Maya. Even though we all have the Satchidananda Atma in us, how we have become attached to this material world because of the Sattva, Rajas, Tamo Guna, and how we have forgotten that we are a part of the divine. So, here you can practice, you can think about what the philosophical principles are drawn of Vyasadeva's vision. So, what is that? When Vyasadeva viewed the Lord, we understood that the materialization should be set aside in order to concentrate and have real bhakti on the Lord. That is when we can experience the pure bhakti, the Satchidananda Tattva. So by linking ourselves to bhakti and not to materialization. So Vyasadeva's thought is he delivered the process of bhakti through Bhagavatam. So he gave us all how this Bhagavatam, and through this Bhagavatam, by Shravanam, we can improve our bhakti status. We can improve our bhakti. And then in 7.7, how the bhakti, if you do the Shravana, it will create the sprout of bhakti in you, which will extinguish all the fires of illusion, fearfulness, lamentation, everything that is associated with this material world all these fires will be extinguished. That is what 7th shloka told us. So all these are very nice points. They're saying Bhagavatam is nothing but bhakti. Vyasa gave us this book. If we can set our mind and put our mind in this book and study, this will help us attain that bhakti stage. And that is what will free us from this materialization and then take us towards the Lord. So nivritti, it will make us get into the nivritti marga, not the pravritti marga. Nivritti marga means getting rid of materialization. So this is explained in 7.8 and 7.9, this point. And then in between 10 and 11, Atma Ramas, they talked about Atma Ramas. Who are Atma Ramas? Those who are in self-realization, those who are free from this material bondage. So Nityam Vishnu Jana Priya. So Sukadeva was very dear to all this Vishnu Jana Priya, to all these devotees, because he was he is free from material bondage. He is a Mukta Purusha. He is a realized soul. He is always in that bhakti stage. So that's why all the devotees are like Sukadeva Goswami. So he is very dear to the devotees. So that point was explained in 10 to 11. So the point is, Shaunaka asks, right? He's already realized, so why does he have to read Bhagavatam? He's saying. Then they said, the people who are realized souls, since they are in bhakti, they are even more attracted towards Bhagavatam than other people, because the Lord's devotional quality is such that these pure bhaktas will always be attracted towards the Lord only. So that is why even they will be more attracted towards Bhagavatam than normal people. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains in that if you read in the purport, there is that example. So what is meant by Atma Rama? So you can refer to that even in Madhya-lila, because they mentioned Atma Ramas. Who are Atma Ramas? What are their qualities? Chaitanya has mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita also. So Sukadeva Goswami, why did he study Bhagavatam? Because all the devotees are pure devotees are always attracted towards the Lord. So you can also choose one verse that is pertinent to Srila Prabhupada's life or ISKCON's mission, and then what it means to you, how it affects. This is an exercise that you can also try and see the first 15 shlokas and see which one relates to Prabhupada's life or ISKCON's mission. How are you? What it means to you. So that is another small exercise. And also you can see why Sukadeva Goswami took the trouble to study Bhagavatam, because he's a pure devotee. You can read 8 to 11 and understand that point even more, how real devotees are always attracted towards the Lord. So this is the first 15 shlokas of chapter 7. If anybody has any questions, we'll see. Otherwise, we can close the class. Let me close with the prayer, and if there are any questions, we'll see. If not, we can end the class. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha krupa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. So hopefully everything is clear with the first 15 shlokas. I'm not seeing any raised hands for questions. Hare Krishna. Then can we end the class, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, there's no other questions. Next time we can.